Today we are going to be talking all about team fighting and the concept of zones and how to really elevate your team fighting ability. Now, before we get into the video, I want to announce I'm going to be doing a free coaching giveaway. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is join my Discord, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and react to the role that you'll see once you join the Discord. Anyway, if you're interested, please do that, and otherwise, let's get right into the video. Here we have a super famous clip from 8 years ago where Doublelift kills them all, right? So here's how the fight starts. If I pause, C9 clearly went slightly too far, right? This zone is TSM zone because Lucian and Gragas can effectively prevent these people from hitting. So as a frontliner, as a jungler or a support or a top laner, you need to be careful of where your carries can actually hit when you are going in. And it's not that this is a bad play from C9. It's just, if you watch, they can only get CC onto the tanks and the mid laner of TSM, where Doublelift can go completely untouched. And he's just able to free hit the whole fight, while Gragas zones the carries from being able to hit him, which is what allows Doublelift to carry so hard. So here, if we just watch Gragas, now everyone watch Gragas, right? All he has to do is walk at these guys, and they can't hit Doublelift. Without their flashes, maybe Jensen could have tried to like flash in, but Doublelift has flash, he could maybe one-shot Jensen, right? It's a very difficult position for these carries. And carries would always prefer to be kiting and hitting the guy closest to them instead of diving. Unless they're an assassin, or unless they have an insane amount of dashes like a Kali or a Relia or something. And instead they kind of choke and they lose the game and the playoff of this. So this next example, we're going to be watching the World Finals of T1 versus BLG. Now we see Faker is the first to come in, TPing here. And T1 are going to pull the Herald, and they have mid-wave. So right now, all of this area is effectively T1's, right? This is their zone of control where they're strong. Now we see Knight TP's in. So BLG have to be careful around this zone. And we're going to see On engages into this choke, right? So how you should think about this is this whole side of the map is all T1 winning space. And the reason is Rumble can't actually hit, Ashe can't really hit, and Xin can dive, but he can't hit anyone here, right? He can only hit these characters below. So if I just let it play now, On dives in, and BLG tries to follow up on this engage, right? So this guy gets a Zanya's off. Or sorry, he gets the Kalista ulted. And now it's just Faker left. Faker has Merc treads. He's going to just get knocked away by Xin's ult. And now look at the positioning of BLG. They crossed this area where they're strong. They're now deep into T1 territory. And if I just let it play, it's pretty much unwinnable for BLG at this point, right? They tried to go for the one shot, and they didn't succeed. So now their fight is really doomed. It's impossible for Ashe to play. Rumble can't even go in without dying. And they end up getting wiped. So just to recap the reason this was so bad for BLG, if we rewatch. So right now, T1 is here first, and they pull Herald. So again, this is perfectly fine. But what I'm thinking is, okay, well, if I'm BLG, what should I do? So if we don't want to give this for free, we're feeling pressured. So we TP, this is good. And now our goal as us red side is not to cross this area and to make Herald reset. So, okay, as we just see, Herald resets. Now, if I'm BLG and what they should be calling to do, if they don't think they can get a one-shot here, instead, they should just go to mid together. They should push this mid wave and force T1 zone. So instead of T1 being able to keep all of this area winning for T1, if BLG pushes mid, they're forced back to mid. They're forced to walk like this to mid lane. And this is how BLG can get a winning scenario out of this fight. Now this type of zone control applies to every role, every team fight, especially around objectives. So when you're fighting in the river, where it's like a 4v4, 5v5, it's very easy to see. So I'm going to pause here. So we can see Quirky went like this. He like decided to flank. And his teammate's zone of control is something like this. So I think if he's going to take this angle, he really needs to wait for his team to fight these guys first so that he can use his W to go like this, right? Quirky's job is to stay around this pocket, this zone, Excuse me. And once he's in danger, he wants to be able to run this way toward his team because this is the enemy zone. So it's not bad to flank. He just has to be really patient. So now I'll let it play. He does play it a little too fast. So he goes on the Warwick, but now Warwick can take the isolated 1v1 because he's in the wrong spot. So he W's in, he flashes out, he outplays, right? Which is good. But he can't live because of how he approached the fight. So if you're going to go for a more advanced, because to recap, Quirky could have just walked up and grouped very easily, right? But he chose to do this flank angle, which is not bad, but you have to be really patient. Because if I pause right here, technically, if we were to like talk about control, areas of control, here's his team's area, and this because he's here, which means all of this is hostile. So he has to make sure he's playing. Here I have an example of zone defense in a Challenger Kindred game I was playing. So as you can see, my mid laner gets ganked and dies, and I was too late to come, right? So now I'm pretty much 1v3 if I want to do these grubs as they've just spawned. And I'm versus Rek'Sai, so I just stand still. And I'm going to just hit him a little bit. Now this guy has to push mid, and this guy can't really come kill me. So if I were to think of this in terms of zone, the winning zone for me is not in the river, and it's not here. It's actually on this wall and in the back of the grub pit. All of this area is winning space for me. So even though I'm 1v3, since I'm topside, and I can't really do dragon, I can't take his camps, I may as well just contest these grubs and play in my zone. And as long as I don't leave this zone, I will always be safe here. Only context needed is Ahri has no ult from the mid gank. So Ahri no ult, I feel very safe. And I'm ranged, he's melee. I'm just going to play confidently, even though I'm 1v3. I'm going to hold my ground. This guy kind of trolls. And this is just a perfect example of how if you just keep your winning conditions, you keep playing to your strengths, and just play with confidence, you will always be safe. Flash this guy. I kind of mess up. I end up living. But I didn't even space it that well, right? Like, I didn't even play it that well. But look, this is where I'm safe. He can't really get over this wall. Just walk away. Final example of this zone idea is from Team Liquid vs FlyQuest of the world to decide who gets the quarterfinals. So it starts out with Skarner clearly going past his teammates, right? He's going in a bit aggressively, but he has his top TP and they're trying to force. Now if we let it play him, the moment Umpty goes in and this TP comes, it's like a clear line in the sand, right? This is all Team Liquid, and this area is where FlyQuest carries can hit. It's where Orianna can hit, it's where Cassante is coming from, and they're pinching onto Syndra, right? So if I let it play, we're going to see Umpty gets a lot of damage on the front line, but this guy has to run away, right? APA really hard for him to play. He chooses, this is really good by him, to flash into the pit, because now if these guys want to chase him, all he has to do is walk here. Corey JJ can meet him with Tom Kench. This is a good way to path to kite to your teammates. I will now let it play again. Because right now it looks super good for Team Liquid, right? Now let me know what you think, what mistake you think Team Liquid is about to make. Because from this frame right here, this should be a winning scenario for TL. Any thoughts? I think it's clear. Impact. And this is the real weakness of Jax, is it's hard to have a feel for when you're overextended. So Impact Qs onto Lulu. And now Lulu flashes. Now, it's not easy for him to walk away. He's slowed, and he's essentially 1v5 without his E, right? So it is insane how fast you die if you are actually able to be hit by the full enemy team. So even though Yawn is hitting, and even though APA can sort of do some damage here, it's not enough to prevent their carries from hitting Impact. So as a frontliner, your job is to only be making space like this if Syndra's in a position to one-shot, if Jhin can one-shot. If those can't happen, you don't want to put yourself so forward. And now I'll let it play, and you're going to see Impact barely is able to live. He has to run away, right? Because he's now 1v5. APA tries to walk up to help and ends up killing himself, which is a mistake. And the real skill you have to learn from this, I'm going to rewind right after Impact running away, is you don't want to focus too much on saving your team. You need to try to really see the bigger picture. And okay, here, now these four feel like, oh, we have to help this guy. But instead, they should keep playing for their own individual game. I think APA has to try and get out of the pit like this way, if he can, right? He's taking damage from Baron. This is Team Liquid's zone. And just because this guy is outside of the zone, they need to still hold the line here and fight on this area. Now, if I let it play one more time. APA hesitates a bit. I think he probably should have been eaten by Tom Kench. Ends up dying. And now Team Liquid have lost this really winning position. Hope you guys learned something and apply this to your own games. Again, if you want to join the giveaway for individual coaching, all you have to do is join the Discord below and subscribe to the YouTube channel and react to the in my Discord. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know if you want more of this type of content. See you.